As business transfer professionals, we have to keep in touch with entrepreneurs, stay alert at all times, and make ourselves available. We must respond to their immediate needs in terms of their operations, cash flow management, and guide them with the grants and subsidies made available to them by governments.
Direct helps for most sectors that are very much affected would be very welcome to get a higher survival rate of companies after crisis. So get liquidity in the market, get liquidity to the companies is very important too.
To help ease cash flow considerations and also to restart economic activity. Some of these are loan programs, as we're seeing in Western countries. We're also seeing, to some degree, but programs to help with payroll relief. Usually these are in the form of reductions in withholdings for state contribution programs.
It is important for governments to promote public and private investment to help strengthen the productive capacity of existing companies, contribute to the recovery of the most vulnerable and affected sectors, and also create new markets.
National fund specialized in M&A, public fund. The government has to be the leader in this area because the amount needs in the market are very strong. You have to streamline the market and build trust. It means identify new sellers through specialized and anonymous digital platform. You can give the example of video platform Transmission.ma. Identify buyers who are still alive and active. Rely on the ecosystem of local chartered accountants and advisors.
Be nice and be honest is probably the best bit of advice I can give. Kind of the one thing I love about the transfer community is everyone is quite upfront and open and generally quite honest about it and continue to be that way. From a buyer's point of view, going in there with realistic offers, don't expect someone, like if it's a good business, they're not going to sell it for a fraction of what it was worth previously, because if it's still a good business, it's still worth that amount now. And likewise on a seller, be a little bit flexible. So there's things like seller finance might be a better thing, like borrowing money might be a bit more difficult for people after lockdown. So if there's anything you can do to facilitate making that easier for the buyer, that might help too.
Most important is to keep communication going. Be active, keep in touch, show your mutual interest and help yourself out with talking about measures against the COVID-19 crisis. Second, be transparent. We think it's important to talk about an EBITDA C, and C means take into consideration the influences of the coronavirus also in your earnings, and show it via a realistic planning over the next few years, and if its visibility is limited with different scenarios. And three, use digital tools to facilitate communication and increase transparency.
The most important aspect is to keep a business financially healthy and to demonstrate its vitality. Even during tough times, to do that, owners must demonstrate agility, creativity, and leadership. They must also review their business transfer, plan, and make sure to adapt to the current situation. When businesses are financially healthy, a drop in profits under these tough and exceptional circumstances should not necessarily have a great impact on their values, especially when evaluated by professionals. Business valuators will take into consideration the nature of the business as well as the past balance sheets, given that the pandemic has not completely affected the business model on which the trend was set.
One of the issues, I think, is for buyers, they're requiring a lot more communication from the sellers. And they're also requiring a lot more transparency from the sellers about what changes may have occurred and also what material changes are they seeing in their business. Because obviously, right now, there's a lot of market uncertainty and it's difficult to make decisions on valuations given the uncertainty in the market 6 months, 9 months, a year from now. From the seller side, interestingly enough, we're seeing sellers and kind of reevaluating the deal, seeing if they want to wait, or also reevaluating their buyers list if they have them, and seeing if the changes and discussions are uniform across interested parties.
Although coronavirus might impact the transfers and acquisitions of the SMEs on short term, I think that the buying and selling a company and business is a big commitment for long time run. So it is important to acknowledge both the sellers and the buyers' point of view and the uncertainty of the future. The short break and a deeper examination of the impact of the corona might be good for both parties to avoid unpleasant surprises.
Reducing fear and creating minimal predictability will lead to regaining confidence.
I think education is the number one priority, and you work with sellers to help them understand what's the best exit strategy for them, with the buyers to help them understand the opportunities and how they can benefit out of those. And of course, with the advisors, you have a license agreement for a school for business brokers, and you completed already a class online.
The focus should be in business transfer. It's an efficient mechanism to safeguard the collective business patrimony and to avoid the disappearance of a larger number of companies, as well as the associated jobs of these companies. By structuring the business transfer process, we will allow the maintenance of the assets, the jobs, and the market position, and also we will prevent the disappearance of jobs and the decrease of economic growth. My main activity should be to establish a plan for the safeguarding of companies and jobs through the business transmission, using, in my country, the empresa, or the business transfer methodology in other countries. And this may mean, as we know, the maintaining of the 15% of the companies that should otherwise close, and this is good. The basis of this plan should be establish a support campaign that generates, we need optimism in business continuity, the establishment of the companies in crisis by offering them a successful exit pathway and generating a supply of companies in the market, to develop and apply the necessary business support and financial mechanisms to overcome the crisis with company and, if any, with new managers. And of course, with the help of Transeo, keep going our international business transfer marketplace platforms to reinforce an European answer to the crisis.
I say care for others. Help all, not just the ones that you think will give you the best returns. If you do, you will help shorten the recession and accelerate recovery. If you don't, you may go hungry for a bit.
Opportunities will never cease existing, and there will always be sellers and buyers, that's for sure.